think we start today, Willie, in Wisconsin.
And Charlie's the right man to have with us because voters head to the polls today in Wisconsin's hotly contested Supreme Court race that is drawing national attention. Conservative Brad Schimel, a former state attorney general and current circuit court judge, backed by billionaire Elon Musk, is facing off against progressive Susan Crawford, a former prosecutor who's also a current circuit court judge. Musk has become a main character in this race, if you will, holding rallies in support of Schimel, while he and groups he funds have combined to spend more than $21 million on this race, which is now the most expensive judicial contest in American history. During a tele-rally last night, Musk bashed federal judges whose rulings have impeded the policies of President Trump.
But we've got this issue with judges that are activists. They're not judges. They're just pretending to be judges. They're just politicians wearing judges' robes. And that's a huge problem. In fact, I think that's just generally a problem. It's not just a challenge with tomorrow's election in Wisconsin, but with the federal judges, where it's like, hey guys, you're really undermining faith. Like, these judges are undermining faith in the legal system, because they're supposed to be objective, but they're clearly not being objective. They're being just politicians. And this is not right. We should have an independent judicial system where it's not a matter of politics.
So, Charlie Sykes, we can put that larger argument to the side. It just so happens, coincidentally, that only the judges who disagree with Donald Trump on constitutional grounds are the ones that Elon Musk and Donald Trump believe are somehow violating their duty. So let's talk specifically about Wisconsin, why this race is getting so much attention and so much money. What are the stakes here?
Well, first of all, the irony, it burns, because virtually every piece of literature supporting the conservative candidate has Donald Trump's picture on it, saying we need to support the Trump agenda. We need to provide Donald Trump a support network. So much for independent judiciary. Look, the stakes in Wisconsin, of course, are very, very high objectively. This election will determine control of the court. It's got a 4-3 liberal majority. If Brad Schimel wins, it will flip to a 4-3 conservative majority. Huge consequences for abortion rights, for congressional redistricting, public employee rights. But the reason we're talking about this is because it's been nationalized. It's a proxy race now between Trump and the Democrats. And, quite frankly, it has become a referendum on Elon Musk and his money, and it's become a referendum on the first 60, 70 days of the Trump administration. We're not California, we're not Florida, we're not New York. $100 million in a state like Wisconsin is extraordinary. It would be extraordinary for a Senate seat, much less a judicial seat. So I think that what you're seeing here is that Elon Musk is flexing his muscles. He wants to show the rest of the Republican Party that he is the biggest stick in the country, that he is the #1 enforcer, that he is the #1 influencer. And so he's got a lot riding on this, which is why he's put so much money into this race.
Yeah, wearing the cheese head there on stage at a rally.
That's serious.
So we know this presidential race a few months back was razor thin in the state of Wisconsin. So what are the sort of betting odds here? How are people predicting this might go tonight?
Oh, look, nobody knows. I mean, everything in Wisconsin is always on a razor's edge. Almost every major race has been decided by 20,000 votes. And the Musk folks and the Republicans are testing their theory that they can turn out low-propensity Trump voters, the kind of voters who would normally sit home during a low turnout judicial race. And so they're trying to get them to come out like they did in November. The Democrats are testing the theory that they can make this a referendum on Elon Musk and Elon Musk's attempt to buy a seat in Wisconsin. So, we have these dueling theories here, and because they've never been tested out before in an election like this, nobody really knows. The polls have been close. Elon Musk is not particularly popular in Wisconsin. A poll taken earlier last month showed him, underwater with a 41% approval rating, 53% disapprove. But that was before a lot of things have happened, right? I mean, that was before we had the stories about Social Security and Medicare. That was before Signalgate. So this race, again, has big consequences for my home state. But I think it's really going to shape the national narrative about the popularity of the Trump agenda. It will play into Republican jitters about the economy and about congressional races, or it will be the moment in which Elon Musk says, you know, I am the master of the universe. You can send me anywhere in America with my big stick and my $26 million, and I can determine the outcome of races in swing states. So it's going to be, I think the significance will be the way it will shape the national narrative over the next few days.
So voters in Florida are also heading to the polls today for special elections in two traditionally deep red congressional districts amid growing concerns from Republicans that both races may be much closer than anticipated. In Florida's 1st District, the state's chief financial officer, Republican Jimmy Patronis, is running to replace former GOP Congressman Matt Gaetz. Patronis is facing off against Democratic candidate Gay Bellamont, a former activist with the group's Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. And in the 6th District, GOP State Senator Randy Fine is running to replace former Republican Congressman Mike Waltz, who is now Trump's national security advisor. Fine is facing off against Democrat Josh Weil, a public school teacher. Weil has outraised his Republican opponent by millions of dollars. Republicans say they expect to win both races, but some are concerned a Democratic outperformance could fuel a narrative that Democrats have the momentum going into the 2026 midterms. This could be tough in Florida, don't you think, in these districts?
Yeah, I mean, Florida, of course, in recent elections has become more and more red. It's become certainly pretty safe Republican territory, but the race to replace Mike Waltz, in particular, Mike Waltz, man of the news of late, has gotten tight and has sort of raised GOP anxiety levels. That they, speaking to some Republican operatives the last couple of days, they feel like they're going to win. But that one, much more than the other district in Florida, could be really close. And John Hammond, this is sort of political in some ways silly season, right? Where we're still very much in the president's first 100 days. And the first election that we see after a presidential contest, we always try to draw sort of outsized meaning to them. And often that's the New Jersey and Virginia governor's races. Those usually come the year after. Those come the year after a presidential election. And that still will apply a few months from now. But today we have this test, the seats in Florida, to be sure, but in particular the one in Wisconsin, where I think a lot of national Republicans and Democrats are looking to see what kind of meaning can we draw from this. Referendums on Trump, but Musk, and also just where are Dems going after November's disaster? Yeah, Jonathan, it's true. There's always a lot of focus on these off-year elections and on special elections in the president's first term. I think it's if a large trend emerges over the course of the year, it's not unfair, and history would support the notion that you look at that large trend and say that it's telling you something. It's way too early in this year to come to that conclusion. But I got to say, this Wisconsin race, you could talk about all the various ways in which it's seen as a proxy for a lot of things. But really, the Musk factor here is it's really much more of a referendum, has been turned into a referendum on Elon Musk, even more than it is the Trump agenda. And I can tell you that there are Republicans all over Washington who quietly would be perfectly happy to see the Republican lose that race in order to take some of the wind out of Elon Musk's sails. There are a lot of Capitol Hill Republicans who are concerned about having an increasingly unpopular Elon Musk put around their neck like an albatross going into the midterm elections, and they would like to be done with him and give the President Trump, a sense that perhaps it's not in his or the party's best political interest to be seen as the party of Elon Musk. And losing this race in Wisconsin would have various negative implications for the Republican Party, but it would also take Elon Musk down a peg. And I can tell you, as I say, there are a lot of Republicans who wouldn't mind that happening.
So, Mike Allen, as we talk about these Florida races, we should manage expectations. Democrats aren't going to win them. Republicans won by 37 and 30 points. Trump won those districts by 37 and 30 points, but Democrats could cut into those margins. Wisconsin, for all the reasons Heilman just laid out with the Elon Musk factor, is there. We had that surprising result in Pennsylvania last week, a Democrat winning a state-level race in a Trump district. Where are Democrats focusing right now? What are their hopes? I guess they hope some of the polling shows up in these results, which is that Americans, it turns out, don't like tariffs, that Americans, it turns out, don't like mass layoffs, chaotic layoffs where people they know, their neighbors, family members themselves are losing their jobs, with the chainsaw guy, the billionaire. So what are you going to be looking for tonight? But broadly, what are we looking at here nationally in terms of how Democrats might do?
Yeah, thank you, Willie. And first, welcome to April and happy unbirthday to the team up there in New York. Why tonight matters for Democrats is this is a chance for them to get off the mat. Like a big showing, a big win tonight, that's going to bring in money, coin, energy. And I can tell you that in Wisconsin, the White House behind the scenes feeling terrible about how that looks. Charlie, of course, is right about Wisconsin always being a razor's edge. But I can tell you that inside the Republican Party, not a lot of optimism about Wisconsin. Down in Florida, feeling great about the seat that Matt Gaetz used to occupy there in the 1st district. In the 6th district in Florida, really getting nervous about that Mike Waltz seat, despite that remarkable 30-point margin that you just mentioned. A little behind-the-scenes story for your viewers. This is from Axios' Mark Caputo, who lives down there in Florida. And he said that behind the scenes, Mike Waltz, of course, now the president's national security advisor, which is why they're having to fill this seat. Mike Waltz is saying to colleagues behind the scenes, Randy Fine, the Republican candidate you just saw there, he said, if Randy Fine wins, I'm definitely getting fired.